This is the LowcoSports Lowdown podcast. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett and Wes Kerr.
Oh, man, that was abrupt this time. I don't know why I went in so abruptly, but welcome to the LowcoSports Lowdown. I'm Justin Jarrett. He's Wes Kerr, the OG crew tonight. Max let us know he was going to sit this one out. He's out to dinner with his mom on her birthday, so happy birthday to Mrs. Arraj, and glad that Max is able to enjoy dinner with his mom on her birthday. That's fantastic. As for me, I spent the whole day out at the Ace Basin sports complex, recreation complex, which I never leave that place without thinking, man, why don't we have this in Beaufort County? Like, it's just crazy that we don't have a complex that's on that scale here at home. But credit to the folks in Colleton County who have created a phenomenal facility and who have put on a first-class event so far. Brady Sacha and I were up there last night covering the opening ceremonies and the home run derby, which was a good time. No home runs on the D2 home run derby field. They hit from, it's 8 and under, right? So they hit from just beyond the pitching circle, but short of second base. So it was still pretty good poke to get it out. But I think more than anything, it's like both the players and the coaches are so nervous, and the coaches can't really hit their spots. They can't get in the groove. The players are
supposed to be a fun thing, right? That's like
but the kids are young enough that they all lengthen their swings, and then they're not on time. But no, it was good times. Nobody went deep in the D2, but the kid who hit one off the fence, he won the prize, which the prizes are legit. Chris Myers, our friend from Hampton County Football, formerly JP2 Football, he runs the rec facility up there in Colleton County, and he's the tournament director. They were able to pull off some cool prizes for the home run derby. Bruce Bolt gift certificates to get a pair of Bruce Bolt batting gloves, the coveted batting gloves of the time. So the guy who hit one off the fence got it. On my field, on the D1 field, Big E got the win. And let me see if I can get a photo of Big E up for you, because he was unbelievable. He's from Westminster, and he hit we had 6 home runs on that field, and we had 10 home runs, and he hit 6 of them. There was a young man from Colleton County who hit a couple, and then there was a young man from Hartsville who hit a couple. But let me see if I can get Big E up here. Look at Big E. This is my man right here. This is my man right here, Big E from Westminster. Yeah, when he gets full extension, it's pretty special. But one of his teammates went deep today in the real game, which is even more impressive.
Yeah.
So seeing some impressive 8 and under ball players out there. Hilton Head is undefeated.
Yeah. They get to keep their home run balls if they hit one out, right?
They do, yeah. There was a big ordeal. In fact, there's like a presentation of it. The deputy director, Jay Bennett, is on site this weekend in Walterboro, and he takes his position very seriously, and they very much, like, Diamond Youth Baseball carries on a lot of the traditions, and they're very much, as you know, having done the PA announcing, there's like a regimented, they want you to say the same things before and after the games, and there's a script
on eliminations,
honoring the teams when they're eliminated and all that stuff. But yeah, he hustled to go get that home run ball, and then the game ended pretty abruptly after that, and they scooted out of there because they had to play again later, and I think they were just going to get in the air conditioning, probably go get some lunch someplace air conditioned. And man, he was panicked trying to get him that home run ball. So they take that stuff very seriously. Oh, I just saw 2-run homer, Ozzie Albies, Braves trying to fight back.
Our start of the show has continued to sync perfectly with the football kickoffs. Tonight it's Uruguay against Brazil. Yeah. I mean, right on the dot at 9:00 kickoff from.
Man.
Playing somewhere in the U.S. It's Uruguay.
Well, it was also tonight the start of the main card out in Anaheim where our buddy Carlo Peruzza is. He went out there to cover the fights tonight. The main card starting now, and the headline tonight, whatever they call that. It's not the headliner, but what's the word that I'm thinking? I don't know. But the main event.
The main event, not the undercard.
Yeah, not the undercard. The main event. I was like, the headliners? That's not right. That's a concert term. But the main event is his boy Masvidal against Diaz in a boxing match. It's MMA guys in a boxing match, so I'm sure it'll be a mess. But Carlo made the trek out to Anaheim to cover the fight. So I told him we'll get him on Monday or Wednesday when he gets back and hear all about it. And I'm sure he'll have some interesting stories to share with us. But what'd you get into the past few days, Wes? Haven't talked to you since Wednesday.
Yeah.
You been busy?
Yeah, I had a great July 4th. Got to hang out with friends and family. Went down to Harbortown for the night, so that was a ton of fun to just kick back and celebrate July 4th with some people I know and some people I met that night. So and just meeting old friends because you never know you can run into on the island, right? Like I saw someone who I went to school with at Hilton High, and all of a sudden I see him again in Sea Pine. So you never know who will show up that you have run into before on the island. That's the cool thing about living here. Some people come home for this time, or they still live here, you just didn't know it. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Very cool. And there were a lot of Hilton Head people out at all over the state this weekend with the Dixie Diamond Youth Baseball state tournaments, because they had the 8U, 10U, and 12U Hilton Head teams all playing in the state tournaments all over the place. Again, I was in Walterboro for the 8 and under, which, man, I told so many people today, I was like, man, as soon as our boys graduate from this, I kind of want to find a group of 8-year-olds like Alan Arsenault's doing and start over, because it's so much fun to watch those kids play ball and to see the impact that their coaches have on them, just the little things that they're teaching them throughout the game. So great to see Hilton Head's boys looking good in Walterboro. They shut out Colleton County 15-0 this morning, beat them before I could even get there. I was running a little bit behind. I missed all of that one. But then I caught a good bit of their 16-3 win over St. George, which that St. George team is pretty good. And I see you looked up the game changer, Brody Thompson. We had his pops on, the coach, Coach Thompson, Brian Thompson, who I've been hanging out with for the better part of 2 days. Brody, I told him today, man, I love your lefty swing. Keep that thing compact, keep it strong. And he went 6 for 6 with 5 RBIs. Was that in total today, or was that just St. George?
2 games combined? Yeah,
2 games combined. I believe it. The dude swings has a beautiful swing. And I think he bats in the 2-hole for them, if I'm not mistaken. They can really swing it, man. That Hilton Head team.
I saw firsthand a couple weeks ago at the district tournament, and it's another thing to kind of show it that next level, because you're going up against teams that can also play some defense, but obviously the competition you expect to increase as the tournament goes on. But so far, so good for that Hilton Head 8U squad. I'm excited about their prospects going forward. And they will be back at it tomorrow. They play today. They'll and then they have one again tomorrow.
I'm about to get the
Greenwood Westminster
bracket.
Yeah,
it'll be Westminster beat Greenwood pretty handily. So it'll be Hilton Head against Westminster, and that'll be a good game. That's the team with Big E and the other kid who hit a home run earlier today. They're very strong. They're from up around Clemson.
That one is worth the price of admission. That could be a really fun kind of game.
It's going to be a really good game. It's good baseball. I mean, They're young, but they're playing good baseball. That one will be at 3:30. And then the other team that got through undefeated was Blythewood, and they look very strong. And they get a bye out until Monday.
Yep.
Right. So whoever wins that Hilton Head Westminster game will get Blythewood.
They'll be in the drivers. I mean, technically in the driver's seat, although this will be Blythewood, but they would have played more games than them. So
Right. So if you get into a 3-team situation, they're the one that'll have to play the extra game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get the bye
be-
the final, basically. Is what would happen.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're looking good. All three of those teams looked very good. So St. George looks solid against Somerville. That was a really good game, though. Close game. Greenwood Clover was a really good game. Greenwood was down 12-4 and came back and won 15-12.
Oh my.
Like over several innings. Like they shut
Yeah,
them out for
right.
several innings. Like it was a good game. Westminster's strong. Blythewood is very strong. The Hartsville Northern Georgetown game was epic. It went 9 innings. It was unbelievable. Brady and I were both on that field by the end of it. It was like, and it stayed. That game was 6-0 Hartsville first inning. Georgetown just chipped away. It was 8-5 going to the bottom of the 6th, and they scored 3 to tie it.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then they played 2 full innings of scoreless baseball.
Wow.
And then, with some crazy defensive plays to keep it scoreless. And then Hartsville won it 9-8 and made some great defensive plays to preserve it. I'm really impressed with the defense for the 8-year-olds. Like, it's awesome. But also, like, they attack pitches. And they know how to like spit on bad ones because of the coach pitch thing, which is different from when we came through. It was the machine. And now like it's interesting because a lot of the teams, you can tell their strategy is sort of like look at 1 or 2 and then start your at bat. But the Hilton Head team, they do not look at anything. They are hacking. If it's there, they're ready to hit it.
Obviously, you have the discipline. Like if it's a good pitch, if it's your pitch, you swing at it. If it's not, then you have to have discipline to wait for the next one. So
no, it's good. And then it's good. Like the kids have good approaches at the plate generally, and tough with 2 strikes. They're really tough with 2 strikes, or when they get down to the money ball, as they call it, the last one. Yeah. On the D2 side, Casey West Columbia, which I don't understand how they don't have enough teams in their league to be D1 up in Columbia, but somehow they are. They're running people. They beat St. Paul by too many, frankly, 40-1. That was not cool. They had to go another inning because it was like 20-1, but they still had 1 batter who hadn't batted for St. Paul. So they had to go another inning and they put like 20 more up, which didn't need to happen.
Would you think about just taking outs at one point, or I mean?
Yes, we've been there, and our thing was coach didn't ever want to score 20. If we got to 19, we started walking off bases, and making outs, and that was just the way we did it.
Right.
My understanding of this situation was that it was mentioned to them that they had 1 more batter, and that if they allowed this batter to reach base, then that batter could bat and we wouldn't have to play another inning. And they declined to allow that to happen.
Right. That's probably
wanted to play another inning and then scored 20, which is Bush.
No, it should. It should. No, I mean, if the run rule limit is reached, let the batter have their at bat. Then that's that.
Call off the dogs. I agree. We're trying to train them to be dogs, but we also want them to be humans. Like we want them to have a human element to them. And as one of our boys, Caleb Malfris, so eloquently said when we were 10 and we were going to the World Series, and he talked to a reporter and said, we want to beat the other team, but we still want them to love baseball.
Right. Love that. Yeah, that's an all-time favorite.
We don't want to make them hate baseball. So good luck to all the teams tomorrow that got beat up on today. Hopefully you can get some back. But CWC, they plowed through it. So did Powdersville. They went 2-0, and South Spartanburg, which was really good on defense. Jasper and Hampton both lost their first ones today. So no one was eliminated today in the 8U. So everybody gets to come back and fight again tomorrow and pay their gate fees. You know, got to make sure you stay for day 2 and pay those gate fees. But that's where we stand on that one. And we should probably shout out some sponsors before we go too much further. The MVP sponsors, the LowcoSports, you've been seeing them across the bottom because I haven't had time to make a ticker. Starts with Megan Jarrett, the official realtor of LowcoSports, and my wife. She's with Keller Williams of the Lowcountry, and she'd love to help you find your place in the Lowco or upgrade to a bigger, better place. Or if you want to be the official realtor of LowcoSports, she says you can buy her out of it for the right price. So get in touch if you want to be the official realtor of LowcoSports. Homegrown Home Inspections is the official home inspector of LowcoSports. Jan Lucas and his team are the best in the biz, and they would love to make sure you're making a great investment in your home. Or if you're building a new home, they'll check on it every step of the way and make sure it's built right with Homegrown Home Inspections. Hospice Care of the Lowcountry is our official hospice provider. They are the only not-for-profit hospice in Southern Beaufort County, and they provide palliative care, hospice care, and free grief counseling, plus much more. Because at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, it's not about dying, it's about living. And Mickelson Law Firm, our official real estate closing attorney, and our original sponsor since 2017. And I believe it was our coverage of Diamond Youth Baseball All-Stars that got them to be a sponsor way back in the day. So, you know, we're going back to our roots here this time of year when we're talking about all this stuff. They're the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage, much of that coming this fall with HHCA football and all the fall sports coming up real soon. But Mickelson Law Firm, they've supported us since the beginning, so please support them as well. Those are our MVP sponsors. Let's talk about some of the other age groups. I know in the 10 and under, how do we do there, Wes? That 10 and under group, Hilton had won a tough one, right? 5-4.
5-4 over Greer. We've talked a lot about Greer in the history that we've had with them at high school ranks, but our Lowco squad from Hilton Head gets it done 5-4. Connell with a 2-for-3 day picked up a double, drove in 3, and then I don't have the last names in front of me, but
I think Connell's a Rooney, if I'm not mistaken.
Connell Rooney, and then Hayne with a nice eye on the mound. No walks, 5 Ks, pitched just 2 innings, but very effective frames there. You know, I got to say, the work is cut out for these coaches who have to kind of, you know, determine how long, because the pitch count is everything. Once you get to 10U, you have to, you know, make sure you have the guys ready for, you know, the future of this tournament, but at the same time, you want to get the most out of your top guys. So definitely a challenge, but they've been able to make it work so far. Really nice, gutsy 5-4 win over a solid Greer team. So that keeps them in the winners bracket. They'll await the winner of Northern Beach and Sumter National. That will take place at 6:00 tomorrow night over at Midland, the 10U Miners State Church. And then, a tough one for the Ozone team. They lost 1-0. Absolute heartbreaking defeat. It was 0-0 up until the 6th inning, and then Hannah was able to make a couple of walks work to bring in that only run to decide the game. 1-0 your final score. Tough one for Hilton Head. Terrific pitching. I'll shout out a couple of guys who brought it on the mound today. Kalen, Matthias, and Braden combined for just 4 hits total allowed just that 1 run through 6 full innings. So excellent work by those 3, but a tough one to let slip away.
Yeah, that's really tough. That was against Hanahan. So you figured that was going to be a tough game because they played good baseball up there. But man, Hanahan's kid, Bryce R. Struck out 10, only allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 hit by pitches over 5 innings. That's really good. I got to see that Hilton Head team up close the other night because we scrimmaged against them. Truman got picked up as part of a team that scrimmaged against them, and they could swing it pretty good. So, you know, that kid must have been really tough on the mound, and I think they'll still be a tough out. That's Kalen Bruce, by the way, who is younger brother to Jasmine Campbell.
Oh wow!
Shout out. I see her at all the youth baseball stuff because Kaylin's her little brother, and he pitched well. Matthias is usually their second baseman. He is phenomenal. I don't know his last name, but I think so. I think that's right. He's terrific at second. I love the way he plays baseball. And then Braden, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on Braden's last name. Usually plays the outfield. But they had a solid little squad. I expect them to make a run. And the 10 and under is set up good with that win. I was looking at their pitching and just to see how they played it. And their starter, they got him out, which is let's see here. And it looks like the 10 and under will play North Myrtle Beach tomorrow at 6. The Ozone will play St. George at 1. So a rematch of the 8 and under game today. But looking at the minors game, I still got fireworks going off in my neighborhood right now.
Oh my!
Every night till they run out. So yeah, Hayne went 2 innings. He was solid, and then they got him out of there. And then they let Metzger go the rest of the way. So they let Zachary Metzger. He'll be done, until probably the championship game or whatever. He'll be done for like 3 days, something like that, with 73 pitches. But I like that. I've mentioned it before, and I've seen teams that try to monkey with that 40 pitches per day and bring them back again and again. And day 2, maybe they can do it, but by day 3, they just don't have it. They don't have it anymore. It's too much of a risk, and then you really are risking injury at that point, I think. You wouldn't ask they don't ask big leaguers to throw 40 pitches 3 days in a row. If a reliever goes 2 days in a row, and if he goes to 40, he's done for 2 or 3 days. But if
it's like your closer,
if your closer has to go back-to-back days in labor and go like 20 plus,
well, depends on
he ain't going a third day in a row usually.
Unless he's breezing through, you're not going to go back to it.
Right. If he has to labor, he's not going to do it 3 days in a row. So I like to see him, stretching kids out and preparing them to be able to go 75 or whatever their recommended limit is for their age, and letting them work through it. Because a lot of kids too, like they'll get the guys who are going to become starters, they need to go a few innings. They need to get in a rhythm. They need to be able to extend a little bit. Other guys are going to be guys who come in and close out, finish off a game or come in and get out of a jam. And that's okay. And you can run them back a couple days in a row, but you also have to start to train kids to be able to extend and go a little bit deeper, without obviously straining their arms. But the only way to, I say it about getting faster. The only way to get faster is practice running fast. And the only way to be able to extend yourself and go deeper in games is to gradually do that over time. And when you're younger, that might be 65 pitches, but the next year it's 70, and the year after that it's 75. And then by the time you get to high school, you're ready to handle that 110 pitch limit they throw at you, if you're a horse. So, but you got to build up to it. It doesn't just happen accidentally. So Hilton Head looking good, middle of the order, coming up big for the 10 and under. Everybody's swinging for the.
I'm excited for the 8U team, man. They're looking really, really strong out there. It's contagious once that lineup. When you see somebody raking, everybody else wants to do it too. That's the fun about it. Everyone wants to copy what those top kids are doing, and spreads throughout that dugout. And it's fun when you keep that line moving for an extended period of time. It is fun to watch and fun to be a part of for those kids.
It's painful to watch on the other side, though. It's sometimes painful to watch them trying to get those 3 outs in the field, because I've been on both sides of that thing. And as exciting as it is to get that rally going, man, there's that other side of it where you're just out there scorching in the heat and the snowball's picking up steam and you can't stop the bleeding. No, it's a great environment to be around. Thankful for the air conditioning in the press tower, saving our lives in between games. I go shoot about 2 or 3 innings, and then I got to retreat to the air conditioning and offload my photos so I can survive for another game. But that's something to mention. I don't know about the other tournaments, but at the 8 and under, they did implement mandatory 5-minute heat breaks after every 2 innings. So after the second and fourth innings, they had a 5-minute heat break. Teams went to their dugouts, got the cooling towels, let the fans blow on you, all that stuff, and just cool off. And it was appropriate because I'll tell you, after 2 innings out on the field, I was ready for, a little bit of a respite too. I had to go find some shade. So it was good. I think I did hear of one kid getting sick in between games, getting too hot. But then he was able to come back and play the second game. So he might have also been eating, things that you shouldn't eat when you've been too hot. Who knows? I've been around a lot of these things. Kids getting sick in between games is not that uncommon, but no, it was a great day out in Walterboro. Look forward to getting back out there tomorrow. Don't start until 2 tomorrow in Walterboro. It looks like they're starting a little earlier up in Columbia, and then we may have weather Monday and Tuesday. So we'll see what that looks like. But they're running a tight ship out there. Shout out to Coach Gant from Woodland, who's up in the box with us helping out. He's doing the PA and keeping a book on one of the fields. A bunch of volunteers, of course, always helping out.
Can't do it without all the amazing volunteers these events. It takes a lot of them.
That's right. Well, and it's fun. You can attest, like sitting in the press box at these things. You get a collection of people who all kind of have some perspective on things. And like Coach Gant coaches football and basketball at Woodland. So, he wants to talk about, Class 2A sports, and we can talk about that. We can talk about Hampton and Ridgeland and, Whale Branch. It's going to be Hampton, Whale Branch, Woodland, Bridges Prep, all in that one region. Ooh. So I told him, he was like, we're ready for y'all to come cover us. I said, well, we're spread as about thin as can be doing what we do right now. But here's the thing, like you guys are going to be kind of in that position Hampton was a few years ago where you're not our team, but we're covering you all the time because you're playing our teams. Woodland is already kind of one of our adopted teams, sort of like the outer Lowco. And we'll be seeing a lot more than this year. I'm excited about that. Joining, Bishop England. They're going to be the heel, though.
Yeah, it's not 740 anymore. Right? Is I believe the new.
Yeah, 7-4A, I believe.
It's okay.
Is it
6? It might be 6 up. Yeah, I'll double check. I'm pretty sure it might be.
It's a good question. I thought it was 7, but I could be wrong. Braves looking good, 5-1 against Phillies. What's happening with the foosball? Who's winning the foosball?
Still 0-0. Although impressed by how Uruguay is playing. They look like they've had more of the possession, more of the opportunities so far, but still no score. It's the game is played it's in Las Vegas that the Raiders stadium.
Nice.
So good venue for that, and it was soccer all day. We had the Euros, England marching on to the semifinals after winning penalty kicks. So sure, Coach Huff from USCB very, very happy about that. Also had me some nerves throughout that one. they saved their comebacks for the end.
Well, and their fans are always waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Like they're always waiting for the disaster and surprised when it doesn't come. So I'm sure they're really waiting for it now. They're like, oh, how are we going to mess this up? So
they come back. They were down in the last 10 minutes. They tight. So yeah, some teams are like that.
Yeah. So it's England versus France. Is that what you said?
England will play the Netherlands, and then the other semifinal is Spain against France. So summer of soccer. It's been a fun few weeks, and that will culminate next week. But
we can all hope for England versus France in the final, right? That would be pretty fantastic.
would be a good one.
Mbappe against England. That'd be nice. Yeah. Go ahead.
Although, just going back to 4. Yeah, it will be Region 6, 4. Only 6 regions in 4 this year.
Okay.
Beaufort, Bluffton, Carleton, Hilton Head, May River, and Bishop England. So, get used to saying Region 6 4A instead of 7 4A.
That's gonna take some doing for me. We've already established that old habits die hard with this head. So yeah, that's gonna take some doing. I'm gonna have to get used to that. But we'll adjust. That's what we do. So yeah, 6 4A. Okay, that's wild.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find.
So we got Region 5: Crestwood, Darlington, Hartsville, Lakewood, Lower Richland, South Florence, and Wilson. Then we got a big region in Region 4 in the lower state: Aiken Airport, Brooklyn, KC moving up, Gilbert, Gray Collegiate moving up to 4A, then Midland Valley, North Augusta, and South Aiken. So different look. A couple of teams moving up, including Gray Collegiate, which has been a powerhouse in 2A. So they're going to make things interesting over there. Brooklyn Casey's always been really solid across the board, going up from 3A. So I expect them to be competitive. But Flora moves back up to the upper state because they were in the lower state last year. They're Region 3. So
which always confuses me.
Yeah.
Never knowing where they're at. All right, so I think I've got it. Here now. Here we go. Share this tab instead. Sorry, my brain is not operating at its full potential this evening after all day out at the baseball fields. But here we go. Yeah, Region 6, 4A. Wow, that's wild. So yeah, it'll just be 3 regions per side. But we got to tangle with, man, that Region 4, 4A is going to be brutal, dude.
Cool, man.
Brooklyn Casey, Gilbert, Gray Collegiate. So Gilbert coming also is interesting. Yeah, Gilbert's that's a quality program across the board.
Yeah.
That'll be good seeing them in playoffs.
That's a great fan base over there.
Yeah, we always get good. Right? May River and Beaufort have both had great playoff rivarieries with Gilbert in different sports.
Maybe
we got Region 6 3A as well.
Yeah.
Man, that's so weird to me. So, and then we're going to be Region 5 2A.
Yeah, that's going to take a lot.
So strange. Look, I'm old enough that I remember when everything here was Region 8. So this is very strange.
All right, there were only 4 classifications. We were most of our teams were in 3. Although Bluffton did move up to 4 at one point, but it looked a little different back then. Now we have, of course, 5 classifications and some new schools added in. So a lot has changed.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard to keep up with everything.
It's just it all starts to run together after a while.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this Region 5 2A though. That's going to be fun. Barnwell. No football at Bridges yet. I wouldn't hold my breath though.
So a 5-team region.
Hampton, Lake Marion, and Whale Branch. It's a bummer we don't have Woodland in that region. I thought they were. They're in a different region. That's a bummer. We won't see them as much. We'll get Lake Marion and Edisto, which I like Edisto as kind of a adopted Lowco team because our friends Livingston and Singleton from Estill. Are up there.
Don't sleep on that Edisto team. They don't know how to put together some good performance, or at least be competitive.
Barnwell's tough.
Barnwell, that's a really strong team. But Hampton County certainly, there's a lot of high expectations after what we saw last year. With squad, and I expect them to show out again. I mean, a couple of key losses from those hurricanes, but a lot of guys coming up. I mean, I just remember hearing about that feeder JV program and how good those young guys are, and so it's more of a reload in terms of Hampton County because they're going to get some dudes coming up. They're going to have some dudes returning, and it's just I'm excited for year 2 over there. After what we saw from year 1, certainly a lot to live up to after that first year, but I expect them to be right there. And of course the big thing is you don't have to worry about Oceanside. You don't have to worry about Gray. So that kind of makes it a lot more wide open because that was the school, that took you out in the lower state final. And obviously there are some quality squads, but I think the door's still open for them. I don't know if they'll be as good as they were last year, but just seeing who they have to go up against, I think the door can be very, very much open for Hampton County to take this deep again and potentially roll away.
I do too. They're going to be a different team than they were last year. But so, obviously, I mean, Zion was Zion, but Jalen Singletary looks the part.
It's not like you cannot replace a guy like Zion Thompson. He is a unit. So you have to.
But Chris Terry is back, and Chris Terry is like they can throw the ball on you. And they're not going to have to that much, but when they need to, they're going to be able to. And so they're going to be fine. They play a tough schedule, as I recall, and they might take some lumps early, but they're going to be fine. And you're right. As you look at the lower state, there's no longer that hulking behemoth waiting for you. I mean, you're going to have to beat some good teams. You're going to have to beat a Marion or a Manning or, Philip Simmons is down in 2A now, and they're going to be a real problem down there, real problem. Timberland and Woodland are always a problem. There's plenty of teams. You're going to have to run the gauntlet to get there, but you're not going to have to fight out of your class.
Play the dragon like a
You don't have to punch above your weight anymore. It's a fair fight.
Yeah.
And then if you get there, you're not facing Gray either. I mean, York Prep may eventually become that, but by the time they do, they'll probably bump up. So you're going to be fighting somebody that's in your weight class, and that was the objective of the rule. And I think it achieves that. Now this region's going to be fun. 1A, Allendale, Bamberg, Denmark, Hardyville, Ridgeland for football. Bamberg is the class. I mean, Bamberg is probably the class in the lower state. Looking at this, Bamberg's really, really good. But Hardyville is going to be fun to watch. Ridgeland has a lot coming back, a lot. Denmark, I just learned today from our friend Coach Gann at Woodland that Joshua Goodman transferred from Hampton County to Denmark Olar. So for basketball, that makes them very interesting in 1A. But in football, that's going to be a fun region. Allendale, I don't know what they got going on right now. You muted yourself accidentally, Wes. You're muted, buddy. You're on mute.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mute myself. Yeah. All right.
There you go. I didn't know if you knew you were muted. It looked like you were talking. But that's going to be a fun region in football. Region
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's going to be. I mean, you just look at some of these squads. Bamberg. We know all about them. All the tremendous matchups they've had against Whale Branch, some other of our squads at different points. But Hardyville's interesting. That first year, what are you going to see from them? What are you going to make of them? Ridgeland, I was talking about looking at the guys who are coming back from that squad last year, who's going to Hardyville, and kind of how they are going to shape out. But of course, some of the schools aren't football. Royal Live Oaks is not football players, Tech in the football, but still should be a fun region. And kind of Allendale, Fairfax as well. Denmark Olar, some solid teams that can trip you up from time to time. So I just can't wait for the Hardyville Ridgeland game. I mean, you talked all about the history of that and the historical attributes of what made that one of the games to put on your calendar every year. And so to see that game come back for the first time in a while, it's just one of those historical moments we talked about with, I just look back to Estill and Reed Hampton when they joined together, and those in that last game for both those two schools. It kind of has that same feel. Now you're splitting up to become those two schools that you've seen before in terms of Hardyville and Richland. So,
Yeah.
I mean, just a lot to be excited about with this football season. A lot of movement. Of course, every 2 years get that realigned, but this year, just a lot more storylines going out of that. Just with some of our schools moving up and see what happened in 6-4A. We'll see. It didn't take long. I probably won't do it every time. I promise you that. I'll say 7-4A from time to time, but
you got it right.
I probably won't every time. But Bishop England.
They still got 8 and 5A.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the because that makes the playoffs easier when you have 4 for classification.
Yeah.
But now it's just
it does. But this will probably make the playoffs better.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
This will probably make them better because they'll take at-larges instead of just 4th place.
Yeah, but you'll take 75% of teams, which is a lot, but
it's still too many. Yeah. We could go 12 and give the region winners buys, right?
Right. Then you do a 4th team.
You'd have to give a 4th buy. You'd have to give
awards about who gets the next. So
then you get into all that. You could just rotate it between the regions. It's region 4, but then it's only a 2-year realignment, so that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because region 6 is just SOL. It's like, yeah, we'll get you next realignment, region 6. It'll be fine. But so I don't know. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine. Whoever wins all the games to get to the end and then wins the championship, that'll be the deserving state champ, I promise, no matter how many we let in. So I didn't know where we were going tonight, but we got into realignment talk. Seems appropriate.
I was looking at the schedule. I was looking at the document you shared with and we're close to a month away from the first Friday. We got a couple of SCISA games that first weekend. Only I believe 3 games on the schedule, but it's coming up
on us fast.
Yeah, a couple of local and local matchups to get excited about. Looking forward to see how Hilton Prep looks with a new head coach. Buford Academy, that's who we'll be facing that first week. So that could be exciting to have a couple of storylines there. Hilton Prep, with a new head coach. Buford Academy coming off a good year, but maybe a little disappointing one at the same time. But we'll see what looks what.
Yeah, and they've got an interesting. They are an interesting case unto themselves this year, I think. BA, because they lost a big group of senior leaders, but they've been building. They've been trying to build a program, and this is where you find out. How it's going.
And you have a good coach in Shuford. Nick Shuford is
great coach. Yeah. They just got to reload. I think Thomas Hayward's really interesting too, with Taylor Malfris coming back and taking over as head coach. I'm told that Tony is looking really good as QB. So that's interesting to see how that pans out. I can't wait. I can't wait for football. It's going to be super fun. I was talking to Myers about it today, talking about Hampton, and they're feeling good about how 7-on-7 has gone and everything, and feeling good about the season. So everybody's ready for it in South Carolina. I guarantee you that. Well, let's shout out some more sponsors. The varsity sponsors of LowcoSports. We got DDS Web Design, building, hosting, and maintaining websites for businesses and nonprofits to get results. So if you want to get found online so you can do more and think bigger, go to ddshhi.com. Parker Law Group serves legal needs across Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties, and they have jumped on board to help us continue to expand our coverage in those counties and shine a light on more deserving teams and student athletes around the Lowco. Dr. Ambrose Cole is our official chiropractor. You can find him at Rooted Living Wellness in Bluffton, and he'll get you feeling right, mind, body, and spirit. Reverence Wrestling Club is our official wrestling sponsor and the presenting sponsor of the Lowco Grind. And I guess we'll have to get another one of those going. We got some wrestling news piling up, plus Carlo out at the fights in Anaheim. So we'll have enough to talk about on that front. We'll have to have us another Lowco Grind real soon. But you can take your skills on the mat to the next level at Reverence Wrestling Club. So anything else on the docket tonight?
Yeah. A couple other things I wanted to talk about. We I mentioned this in our text, our text chat, myself, you, and Max
Man,
Arraj
man.
unfortunately couldn't join us last night, but kind of a cool story. Looking for something to watch. The Red Sox and Yankees were playing, but they got there's a rain delay, and so happened to know that the Savannah Bananas, who we have been talking about quite a lot because you had that banana ball inspired event last fall,
Yeah, yeah.
which was awesome. But the Bananas are on their world tour as they have been all summer, and they found themselves in Buffalo. And they're here for the whole weekend over there in Buffalo, but they were
Nice.
televised on ESPN. ESPN decided to air two of their games, one last night and one tomorrow afternoon. But what do you know? I turned on the game and watched some of it, and Eric Jones goes yard, hits a home run. And of course, when you hit a home run banana ball, you got to celebrate hard.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
the entire team went to home plate. They brought in a white table, like a tailgate table. And since they're in Buffalo, you got to do it Bill's Mafia style. So he slammed himself into jumping into the table, just like the Bills fans do at the tailgates before the game. So what a moment for him. And just
You gotta love it.
my God, they go all out. So, I mean, we talked about a lot of people say it's Harlem Globetrotter-esque. It really is. I mean, you're seeing some incredible trick plays. There was one play where one of the outfielders bobbled it with his glove, tipped it to a fellow outfielder, and the other guy made the catch. The center fielder, right fielder, and right fielder making the catch after the center fielder tipped the fly ball. I mean, it's just insane. And there's some like in between the legs.
Oh, yeah.
Relays to first. I mean, my God. I just like how. I mean, it's not. You don't have to be a diehard baseball fan to appreciate it. I mean, they are attracting so many more fans to the game. You have to think by what they're doing. And for these players, it takes a lot more than just the talent on the field. You have to have the charisma. You have to have the skill to turn those trick plays. I mean, how much do you have to work on at practice? Not just, the routine stuff as a player, but you also have to practice and learn all those trick plays. And you got to be an entertainer as much of a performer as a baseball player that you.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and Eric talked a little bit about that, about how it was like he knew how to play baseball, but he had to learn how to be an entertainer while playing baseball. And that's a different skill entirely. You said you don't have to be a diehard baseball fan. I think it actually helps if you aren't. I think the casual baseball fan is much more the target, and it lands better with them than it does with the diehard baseball fan, because the diehard baseball fan is like, well, yeah, but that was a foul ball. Why is he out? That sucks. They have a hard time with some of it, and I have a hard time with some of it, frankly. But it's fun to watch, no doubt.
It's definitely propelled more at the younger audience because you have kind of that TikTok
for sure
style. And by the way, I'll have to look it up, but they actually absolutely sped through that game. In fact, it was the fastest game in banana ball history, clocking at just under an hour and a half for a 9-inning game of baseball. They played that game in 1 hour.
The good thing is that they put on a show for a good while before and after the game, so you don't feel like you get shortchanged if you only get a 90-minute game.
What they did was they did a dance party after the game. They do all like the fun, intro. Then they play the game, and then they have all these theatrical things after the game. And I mean, they had a victory celebration. They all lined up along the infield, and they were just dancing like kids out there, and just having fun. And the fans just eat that up. They love it, and it's an amazing spectacle. And to think that it all started right here, just outside the Lowco, an hour away, and to see them become not just a nationally known brand, probably a worldwide known brand.
For sure.
And you see all the shirts and the uniform. You see them.
Costumes.
Also, they have a pitcher that comes in that wears stilts now.
Yeah. They put on a show.
Yeah.
I mean, man, if you can get paid to do this, like, come on.
Yeah.
Why? If you're a young dude, just got done playing college baseball, and you either got to go get a job or you could do this.
Yeah.
Of course you're gonna do this. Come on. Who wouldn't? It's amazing. They're having the time of their lives. I had a friend, family member, who got the opportunity. He was a JUCO assistant coach at the time, and he got the opportunity that first year that they were in town in Savannah. He got to be the pitching coach, and he got to come and live in the. They lived in like the dorms at Benedictine, I think. Like, like it was a different kind of lifestyle for sure for the summer. I think he had a great time, but I think it was a hard sell to his wife to do it again. But no, it's a really cool thing, and like you said, to have been kind of there since the beginning is really
I mean, I don't
cool.
think anyone would have predicted this, what we're seeing now.
I don't think even they could have. I'm sure they had some sort of a vision that approximated something like this, but there's just no way that they could have foreseen especially what's to come, because there's about to be, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that there's going to be some sort of a banana ball league. They're adding more and more teams with personalities, and it's going to look a lot like, I think, like the Premier Lacrosse League looks like, except there won't be, nobody will have like a home field, I don't think necessarily. It'll just be a traveling road show, and you take 6 teams on the road or 8 teams or whatever it is, and they match up every weekend somewhere, and you sell out the house for 2 days. And then you pack it up and take it on the road somewhere else. It'd be WWE essentially, going from city to city, putting on the show. And I think that's what they've landed. Where they've landed is firmly somewhere between MLB and WWE, and I think they're comfortable in that space. And I think everybody who would be interested is on board. And I think it'll carve out more space. I don't think they even care if they're on TV, though. I don't think they need to be. I think YouTube, they've got their own platform
for exposure, but they don't have to be on TV every night, or even most of these series. But I'm sure they wouldn't mind to just get the exposure.
Oh yeah, and
here's who we are, and this is what we can sell, and that just attracts more fans to see the product in person. And I mean, I think the ESPN coverage is a great thing for both the network and for the team in general, and for that organization. They are always employing, it's not just the same team. It's not just like the Washington Generals.
Right.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I think they played the team called the Firefighters last night.
The Firefighters.
Animals. Then they have all these independent teams or minor league teams they play against. And so, that's cool. The fun of it is a lot of times they go up against the local teams or wherever they're playing, and they have them go up against the traveling Savannah Bananas team. And then, so it's really cool how they always tailor it to wherever they're playing. So they're doing the Let's Go Buffalo song. The song is Shout, but they do the Let's Go Buffalo. Those make it shout. Yeah. But so the fans were all doing that. But it's just a really cool atmosphere that it kind of has the more NBA vibes than baseball vibes, just because of the
the in-game entertainment aspect. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, but it's its own unique product. It's
100%. And they still, I mean, It's fun. It's fun to watch. It's absolutely fun to watch. It's not baseball, and that's okay. It's banana ball. I
Yeah.
think it's good that they went their own direction and created their own game, honestly, because it kind of differentiates it from baseball. And it was getting the lines were getting kind of blurred, like with the bananas playing baseball. But now they play banana ball, and it's like all bets are off now. It's a completely different universe. You can do whatever you want in that universe.
Yeah.
So it's cool. But yeah, I think back often to when they first came to town and they were gracious enough to host
And
us
they were,
at
moved into
USCB.
historic Grayson Stadium. It was just really cool to see because when the Sandnets left, what was going to happen? Like, what would happen with anyone playing that field?
It was sad.
Yeah.
But then, and I miss the Sandnets because I really, as a baseball fan, like I loved going to a single A game and being like, holy cow, this kid, Uris Familia, is pumping it, this 19-year-old kid. And then years later, of course, Uris Familia is like closing out games in the playoffs for the Mets. And on that same team, it was like Wilmer Flores and like all these guys who ended up playing big.
Jake DeGrom was also at one point.
Yeah. Josh, I remember Josh Satin. I remember all kinds of dudes who came up. Like I actually cared about the Mets a little bit for a while just because it was kids we saw play in Savannah. So that was cool. And I do miss that. But I also miss the Bananas Coastal Plain League team. Like I wish they would have kept both. Like I wish we had summer baseball.
Yeah, so you have a team that plays in Savannah, and you have the traveling team as well, or something like that. So you can play simultaneously. And
or I wish somebody else would put a Coastal Plain League team
or the different Coastal Plains League team around this league, because that's become a really strong summer baseball league, college baseball league.
It's good. I miss being able to go over there and just watch college guys play ball.
Yeah.
So that would be cool. But hey, we made it almost an hour, so we'll shout out the rest of these sponsors and leave it with our parting thoughts. We got the Lowco Booster Club, Court Lifestyle Pros. Daniel and Debbie Court are with Charter One Realty. They're Lowco natives who want to bring you home to Hilton Head Island. Revive Rehab Women's Health and Pelvic Floor Physical Therapy. Dr. Allie and Dr. Jen love to work with new moms and get them feeling right and back on their feet. Eagle Creations has promotional items and custom apparel, and they're hosting the Lowco Swag Shop. Get your Lowco swag. We got the link right here coming in the comments. Get your Lowco swag from Eagle Creations. There we go. Live posting the link. That's one of our Lowco Booster Club members. And we've also got Jay's Barbershop, the place to be in downtown Ridgeland, whether you need a haircut or not. Go in for the conversation and come out looking stylish at Jay's Barbershop. Barefoot Floor Care in the Lowcountry, getting your floors so clean your feet will thank you. And Hudson Seafood on the docks if you are brave enough to venture onto Hilton Head Island, on the weekend in July. You got to go to Hudson's. Plan to hang out all day on the docks and have a couple cocktails. That's what Basirico says. Basirico says make a day of it and have a few cocktails, Coach Basirico. So all you Hilton Head prep kids, listen to Coach Basirico. Go have some kids of old, the ones that played for Coach Basirico. They're old enough to have a cocktail at Hudson's. That's the Lowco Booster Club. Wes, any parting thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, we mentioned the Lowco grind. We've talked a lot about mixed martial arts and wrestling on this podcast, and some huge news dropping just tonight out of WWE. The great John Cena has announced that he will retire after his last match at WrestleMania coming up next year in 2025, who has become a legend, not just in his sport, but just overall. I mean, everybody knows who he is, and he has developed quite the figure over the years.
He is one of the, and I'm not being facetious, he is one of the great comedic actors of this time. Like, he is so funny. If you haven't seen Peacemaker or Ricky Stenicki or Cock Blockers, John Cena, I'm not joking. This man is a terrific comedic actor. He is so funny. And I'm glad he's making one last hurrah in the WWE. I don't really care about the WWE, but I'm a big John Cena fan. Big fan.
Big charisma. I think goes just beyond the ring. I mean, it's gone into so many different genres of film and television, and just has a larger than life personality. And everybody knows who he is, and he just jumps.
So funny in Peacemaker. So funny in Peacemaker. The movie and the series, just both terrific. But yeah, that's a great parting thought. I don't have any parting thoughts today, except that it was a very long day of baseball. I look forward to taking a shower and going to bed, and then I'll be out there tomorrow afternoon as well. But great day out there. Always great to watch young kids play baseball. And one of the coaches today said something that I guess that'll be my parting thought. I totally related to it. He said, "God, this takes years off my life, but I love it so much." And I was like, man, I hear you, brother. Like I relate to that so much. These weekends out at the ballpark, definitely taking years off my life, but adding so much to my life, whether I'm coaching or out there taking photos. This weekend, it's been really fun. And thanks to Coach Myers for the opportunity. And hopefully we can figure out how to make a little money at this and be able to do it more often. That's the goal. So hopefully moms and dads will buy a lot of photos from this weekend and we'll be able to make a business model out of it. But great show tonight. Despite not having a whole lot to talk about, we were able to go deep on the Diamond Youth Baseball, talk at great length about realignment and get our heads around that for the fall. And then just catch up. Always great to talk to you, Wes. Thanks so much to all of our sponsors who make it possible. And thanks to you for showing up to listen or watch. We'll be back Monday night. We'll have more baseball to talk about and probably a few other things. I believe Alex Percival from the Lowcountry Legacy Hoops Tournament is going to join us. Yeah, next weekend. I think he's going to join us Monday night. So we'll talk about that. Who else was in? Coach Myers was in for Monday night as well. Everybody was in for Monday. They were all busy tonight or already having too much fun to be coming on the show with us. But we'll catch up with them next week, and we'll see y'all then Monday night. For Wes Kerr, I'm Justin Jarrett. Till next time, go Lowco.
The LowcoSports Lowdown podcast is a production of Lowco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go Lowco.